What is going on, everyone? We are almost officially in the end game here, and with that said, I want to be going over and discussing who is the most least likely to die and who probably will die in Avengers Endgame. I've been thinking of a good way to talk about the subject with the 17 characters that have survived, and Sean Chandler, good buddy, good friend of the channel, came up with this great depressing idea where he ranked it all, and I thought, that's actually a good idea. So shout out to him. Make sure to go check out his video up top or down below. I mean, you guys probably already know who he is. So big shout out to him. I can't wait to rank this. I can't wait to give you guys my thoughts because I got some more experimental thoughts to who I think could die in Avengers Endgame. So without further ado, guys, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you guys are new here, where I talk about all sorts of geeky content and give you guys early movie reviews. Plus, you guys can also go over to Sandwich on Films down below for ways to see films early. And make sure, guys, to hit that comment section so I can tell and see your ranking of who you think is least likely to die to most likely to die. Let's talk about it, guys. Let's go into who might die and who's least likely to die in Avengers Endgame. Starting with number 17, it is Happy Hogan. Now, the reason I don't think Happy Hogan is anywhere close to dying is the pure satisfaction that Happy Hogan is in the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer. Now, unless they're lying and say that this doesn't directly take place right after Avengers Endgame, which Kevin Feige and a bunch of people have said in studio, in-house, then I have to suspect that Happy Hogan is going to survive the Endgame. I can't see him not. And yeah, I mean, this is pretty much just an obvious one for me. We see him in a future trailer. We know he's going to survive. He probably won't be the biggest part of Endgame. Probably have a couple small moments in there because it's Jon Favreau and it's Happy Hogan. I love his character. Yeah, I mean, this one's pretty much the most obvious one of who's going to survive. Coming in at number 16, we have Pepper Potts. Now, spoilers here. If you didn't know, she's actually in Spider-Man Far From Home. From what I understand, she was casted in this film. We haven't seen her in a trailer yet, but we know that she's been casted in the movie. So, I mean, unless I'm wrong on that and they change that news, I'm pretty sure she's in for Spider-Man Far From Home. So with knowing that news and that detail kind of points me in a new direction that, yeah, she's probably going to survive the Endgame. Which brings me to number 15, and number 15 is Captain Marvel. They are not going to kill off a major character like this that they just established that had just made $1 billion in this great MCU universe. I would be very surprised if they even attempted to kill her off. I liked Brie Larson in the character. I know not a lot of people did, and I think Avengers Endgame is going to turn and sway a lot of people to a different side of her because just kind of how the Thor effect is. I'm not the biggest fan of Thor in his films, but when he's in a team or even in an Avengers film, I happen to like him more. I have a feeling that's kind of what's going to happen with Captain Marvel, and I think more people are going to get won over by her. But again, I could be wrong. Maybe they do kill her off, but I just don't see it. I think she's going to be an establishing MCU character for the further Avengers and any other Marvel films coming down the line. Coming in at number 14, I see Rocket Raccoon easily surviving the Endgame. He's too lovable of a character, and also, I mean, there's a Guardians 3 coming out, and I'm pretty sure Bradley Cooper is confirmed to come back to voice the character of Rocket Raccoon in there. Again, I could be completely wrong. He could sacrifice himself to save his whole team, bring back Groot, bring back Star-Lord, bring back Drax. It would kind of be a fitting character arc for him as well, since he's always been a very selfish person, especially how they established that back in Guardians 2 with him stealing the batteries. It also would fit the storyline of him, but as the character that he is, I feel like if he is going to die, he'll go out in a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 more than an Avengers Endgame. Come on, we have to see the reunion of him and his team coming back together. Coming in at number 13, we have Okoye. Now, I love Danny Gurira. I think she's an excellent actress, and she was one of the big standout parts of Black Panther, which is another reason why I don't think she'll die. I actually don't even think she has a big major part of Avengers Endgame. I hope I'm wrong in that. I would love to see her have a major part of Endgame, but I just don't see it. With Shuri dying, with Black Panther being gone, I think she's going to have to hold up a mantle and really help in Wakanda. She'll have a couple moments here and there, but again, I don't see her actually going forth into any of the big battle action sequences that we see her in. Yeah, she's in the poster. I'm hoping I'm wrong at that, but again, she is a major part of the Black Panther world. I don't see her dying off in Avengers Endgame. Coming in at number 12 is Valkyrie. Now, Valkyrie was the big standout of Thor Ragnarok. Tessa Thompson is a star. I loved her character, and a lot of this is kind of personal bias for me because I do believe that she deserves her own solo film. I think she could hold her own in a solo film, and I think the way that she was portrayed in Thor Ragnarok warrants her to have her own solo film, whether it's a prequel, a spin-off series on Disney Plus, or whatever. I want Tessa Thompson to have everything possible, and again, personal bias, I just don't see them killing her off. I think she was a very popular character that they can easily integrate into a different type of film, maybe a Captain Marvel 2, maybe even bring her into the next Avengers film, or even a Guardians of the Galaxy 3. There's so many different cosmic Marvel films coming up down the lineup, even with Eternals, that I think she is an established character that I think losing her, you know, it would be enough to show that there are stakes to it. But at the same time, I think it takes away from what her character is, and I think is a waste of potential with the actress that they have involved and the character that they developed in Thor Ragnarok. Coming in at number 11 is Hawkeye. Now, if they had not announced that there was a streaming service show being made with him training Kate Bishop, I would say, yeah, you know, he's probably most likely to die to save and bring back his family, because, I mean, we see from that first trailer, yeah, his family's probably going out right in the beginning, and it just fits for his character. I don't see him dying. Yeah, again, it would fill that stakes thing that, yeah, there are stakes, he could die in here, but I don't think he's most likely to die. I think if he was going to die, he would have died in an earlier MCU film, but I think they established enough with his family, and having the streaming service show being announced, it sounds like it's taking place after Endgame. Just don't see him again being a major player and dying. He'll be a major player in the story, being Ronin, being awfully amazing. Right, Jeremy Renner? And I just don't see him dying. Coming into number 10 now, I have Black Widow. Now, the reason I put her at number 10 is her movie is coming out. I know it's a prequel. I know it's taking place beforehand any of this stuff. So that could be a way to keep her alive in the MCU and establish her more as a character. But if you're going to do a solo film of her, why kill her off? Why not leave the door open for her to more come into future MC films to warrant and maybe train other potential Avengers members, maybe a young Avengers, a la, you know? And I just don't see them also killing her off. I think if they were going to, they would have already. I could be completely wrong. She could easily die in Endgame, and I think really anyone 10 and up does have the most likely of dying, but with Black Widow, again, she is getting her solo film. It's hard for me to warrant that she will die. That actually brings me to my number 9, which brings me to the smallest character of all the MCU, and that is Ant-Man. Now, the box office returns have not been the best for Ant-Man, but they're still making a profit in its own. Again, this is just a character I don't see them killing off. He has the potential to die. It would fit a character arc for him, and they do have Wasp now that they can go off. Wasp pretty much stole the show in Ant-Man the Wasp, so it would further that dynamic more, and him saving himself, him dying for his family in a sense, to bring them back would fit his character arc. But it'd also be really sad to see his daughter know that he dies. And I could see Ant-Man dying. I don't think he will. But, you know, are they even going to do an Ant-Man 3? Or are they just going to kind of push him to the side? Who knows? But again, I don't know. I put him at number 9 because it felt like a safe place. Kind of like a 75-25 of him dying and living. Now it brings me to my number 8, and that is Wong. I love Benedict Wong as this character in Doctor Strange, and especially in Avengers Infinity War. I wish he was a little bit more in Infinity War, and seeing that he is surviving in Endgame, I don't see him being a major player in Endgame, but I see him being enough to where maybe it's a death. It shows that, yeah, anyone can die in this. Do not be afraid of that. Do not be afraid of anything. Anyone could die at any moment, and maybe Wong in the earlier steps of the movie does die off pretty fast to show the stakes of where the film is going to go. That brings me to my number 7, and that is War Machine. I've always been saying Rhodey is one of the most, not expendable characters, because I love Don Cheadle, but he's a very risky character. When I say risky, this guy has escaped death quite a few times. You got Iron Man 3, you got Iron Man 2, damn, you even have Civil War and Avengers Infinity War. This guy has escaped death. I've been predicting his death for a while, but that's why I also have it number 7, because I don't fully believe they will kill him off. I think there is a high potential he could. He's Robert Downey Jr.'s best friend, and I think it could add to a couple different theories that I have where actually one of my theories actually for this film is that a majority of the characters will die, leaving the original 6 to survive and really reverse everything, because I feel like this film is going to reset a lot in the MCU. That's a personal theory. I could be completely wrong. I don't really know much going into this film. I've stayed away from a lot of the marketing and just theorized a couple different small things from rewatching a lot of the MCU films on my road to Endgame. But again, War Machine, he's one of those characters that if he dies, it'll affect me because I've been with Don Cheadle's character for so long. But if he doesn't die, then it also leaves a nice door open for his character arc to expand as we go further of who could die. Brings me to my number 6, and my number 6 is Thor. Now here's the thing. I don't see them killing Thor off. I think Thor Ragnarok really elevated his character a little bit more to the point where I'm like, if you kill him off, it kind of takes away from everything Thor Ragnarok did and really expanded his personality as a character for people to kind of jump back into. I think Avengers Infinity War also elevated that as well, as he had some of the big standout moments of it. As a character piece, I don't see it fitting his story arc of him dying. I feel like he's going to take more of a side route and a side character route in the next further MCU films. Out of the main 4 Avengers, I do see him being the least likely to perish. Coming down to my number 5, I have Hulk. Now here's the thing, I actually don't think Hulk will die. I think Hulk will live on. I think Bruce Banner, though, is the one that will die. I think something along with him and Hulk will get separated. Professor Hulk, maybe, which I've been wanting for quite a while. If you guys don't know what that is, look it up in the comics. It's a really interesting topic of the whole Hulk character and Bruce Banner himself. But again, I don't see Bruce Banner dying. I just don't see Hulk dying. He's a hard character to kill off. But I do see Mark Ruffalo wanting to kind of go off and expand in different routes. And if you can't use Hulk in his own solo films, he's a hard character to do. I like the Incredible Hulk film. I think it's a very underrated film. But I think some people don't love the character that much. And him just being a sideline character, making him Professor Hulk does establish that more. And if Mark Ruffalo does want to come back, he can just do the voice, some mocap, and then just be gone. My personal opinion, I could be completely wrong again. Before we get further on, guys, understand this. Again, these are completely theories. I have no idea who's actually dying. And if you know who's actually dying, please don't spoil it down below in the comments. What I'd love for you to do is talk about the movie and tell me what your ranking is. Again, I want to hear it and talk with you guys down below about it. Bringing me out to my number 4, that is Nebula. I feel like as a character arc for her to save Gamora's new family and in a sense give her back what she wants, I think Nebula is going to sacrifice herself. I think she's actually going to switch. I've always believed that Gamora is going to come back from the Soul Stone. I think Nebula is going to take her place in that route. And that's kind of where her story arc is going to go to. I think Gamora is going to come back. Nebula is going to be dead. And I don't think Karen Gillan will have a big major part in this. I think that will be her big one story arc that she does have a through line through. Maybe I'm wrong again. But out of all the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, she is the most expendable when it comes to it. I love her character, but it's just maybe time for her to go. Also, if she does die, it does establish a pretty big elevated arc to it. I actually still think she'll be the one that kills Thanos out of any of the characters, but again, who knows? Brings me to my number 3, and that is Thanos. I think the guy's dead. I think he's toast. But the other reason I don't is maybe they'll just have him living in a world isolated away from people where he sees that he failed and having him sit in there, but it also leaves the door open to bring him back in another film. And that's the thing. Thanos is one of the most intriguing characters in the MCU, and to kill him off, I feel like would also be a waste. We'll be pissed if he doesn't kill, maybe like a Rick not killing Negan situation from The Walking Dead, but I do think leaving Thanos alive does open up some other doors for the future Marvel films. And that's not what I want to see. I would personally want to see his head chopped off, killed, destroyed, and be done with the chapter, but I could be wrong. Now we have our top 2, and my number 2 might surprise you guys, but my number 2 is Captain America. I do not see Steve Rogers dying in this film. In fact, if we go to my number 1, that's Iron Man. I see Iron Man dying over Captain America. And I'll get to my point in a second. My thing with Captain America is I think the guy has gone through such tragedy, such horrible things throughout his life. He's been frozen. He's always been a soldier. He's always been in war. Why doesn't he deserve a perfect ending? You know, if time travel is what a lot of us are theorizing, and I'm theorizing as well, why not give him a happy ending with Peggy for him to go back and get that final dance with her? A lot of us are expecting that. I would love that. And I think it would really be a fitting tied story up to him where, yeah, Chris Evans doesn't have to come back. Does leave it open for if he does, but he doesn't have to. And I think having Peggy be established in that element is a good happy ending to him. And don't get me wrong, now other people are going to be like, well, why doesn't Iron Man deserve a happy ending? I mean, he could. These characters, it's like 50-50 with both of them. I think one of the two are dying. Hands down. But I could also see them both coming out surviving. But if I'm looking at this film from a different look, I see him dying more. I see Iron Man dying because the universe started with him. I think for this whole saga to end with him would be a very fitting conclusion. Fit the mark completely and really work out everything that's going on. And let me picture this. I think Pepper Potts is pregnant. I think she's already had a child by the time Tony's back. And I think there's going to be some emotional arcs with it, where he's going to have to choose between saving a bunch of people or dying for these people and knowing that he's losing out on his family. Just saying, I see that happening 100%. Some flashbacks in there, and he dies. I'm kind of getting teary-eyed as this happens right now. Again, out of every character, I think Steve Rogers deserves the more happy ending. Iron Man has been through and throughout, and I think his character arc is the one. If he is messed up countless times, and I think for him to finally establish that he is a changed man is to sacrifice himself for the team. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this ranking. Do you guys like it? Did you hate it? Let's talk about it, and make sure to comment down below your ranking. I can't wait to have a great discussion with you guys down there. If you guys are new here, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, making sure to check out Sandwich on Films. Also, do not forget to go over to Sean Chandler's channel to check out his ranking as well if you guys haven't already. Thank you guys again. Thank you, Sean, for the great idea. And of course, guys, until next time, stay classy.